Hello everyone, my name is War of the Seas, and on this episode I am showcasing the IS-3 on my How to Kill series. This Soviet machine is found at 7.3 and it is a Soviet heavy tank. This Soviet machine is armed with the long 122mm D25T cannon. However, this horizontal aiming drive found on the IS-3 is an anemic 7.7 degrees a second, relatively anemic at these BRs. The IS-3's max speed is 25 miles per hour going forward, and the reverse speed is 9.5 miles per hour in reverse. So let's get started with the IS-3's armor itself. The IS-3's armor is relatively traily. It's not very easy to identify to beginners. So we'll start off on the hull. The IS-3 features a T-shaped hull. What is a T-shaped hull, you may ask? Well, dear viewer, let me explain. A T-shaped hull is when the upper part of the hull is angled either inward or outward severely. Like the IS-3 is a good example. The top part of the hull is angled inward, giving new players a hard time understanding why they're getting non-penetrations on the side of a vehicle. So let's get started on the protection analysis. We'll be using the long 88 and the short 90mm as well as the long 90mm found on the American tech tree. Let's start with the long 88 found on the Tiger 2s. Do not worry, the long 88 found on the Tiger 2P, Tiger 2H, and the Tiger 2H SLA 16 are all the same. So, there are three major weak points on the IS-3 from a frontal aspect. We're using Panzergranate 3943, and the first major weak point is just under the driver's viewport, just like so. And your key way to guide yourself is you just gotta look at the seams, same thing on the other side, and where the pike starts, right in the middle here, just under the driver's viewport. That is the first major weak point. And from a frontal aspect, from your point of view, to the right side of the gun barrel, aka the gun mantlet, you see this hole. That is going to be your indicator that the armor is weak there. However, I will recommend shooting Panzergranate 4043, the APCR shot if you have it. It is a little bit more consistent in knocking out the crew. And finally, we have the 20mm plate. It is relatively thin but sharply angled. So if you have a high velocity gun, you can overmatch this, just like so. Just like so. However, I do recommend for you to shoot at this 20mm plate with APHE or with big caliber hash or big caliber HE. So if you shoot solid shot rounds, you just go straight through it, doing a very minimal damage. Let's go to the side. So for the side view of the IS-3, you'll be very tempted to shoot the turret. This is an illusion. I recommend not to because the IS-3's turret is angled sharply inward, as you can see. If you want consistent damage 100% of the time through the turret, I recommend shooting at these commander cupolas on either side of the IS-3, just like so, as you can see. And for the side of the IS-3, I want everyone to just eliminate this part where the IS-3's side skirt begins, more or less, because it is completely impenetrable. This is because that is where the T-shaped hole is and where it's severely angled inward. Realistically speaking, you'll never penetrate this. So I want you guys to imagine these 1, 2, and 3 idler wheels to guide you, because down here where the idler wheels are at, that is where the whole armor is really flat, giving you a high rate of penetration. Just like so. And another tip for you guys, shooting in the middle here, 1, 2, in the middle of these idler wheels, gives you a penetration. Right here under the middle, just get yourself by this little seam right here, off to the left, is the IS-3's ammo rack. This is where you ammo rack it almost 90% of the time, just like so. There you go, completely knocking out the tank, sending him back to the hangar. So let's continue with the long 90mm found on the Super Pershing. Same ordeal as the German Cat, armed with the long 88, just under the driver's viewport, to the right side of the gun mantlet, just like so. And of course you could overmatch this weak 20mm plate, just like that. Of course, same thing applies. Don't shoot the turret relatively truly. Instead, shoot at the commander's cupolas, just like so. And of course, this is still invulnerable. It's impenetrable up here. There's no use shooting here. I recommend guiding yourself as well down here along the idler wheels, same places as the long 88. And if you're armed, and if you're shooting at it with a short 90mm, everything else applies. Every single weak spot applies except for this part up here, just because the short 90mm gun found on the American tech tree doesn't have that high velocity as the long 90mm or the long 88mm. It'll give you a harder time overmatching this just because the muzzle velocity is a lot slower. But yeah, that is the IS-3 for you guys. If you guys enjoyed the video, make sure you guys leave a like down below, and if you found this video helpful, drop a sub. Until next time.